He named his daughter Icarus for the boy he wished he'd had instead, with the woman that made him feel as though he was always soaring too close to 1,000 little deaths, heavenly. And how close he was then, so close to painting the sky and the colors that he loved most, golden. But before he could kiss the sun, he buried his time bomb wings and built a home in the maze instead. He married a different woman with only blood in her veins and salt in her tears, not jewels. And when she gave him a daughter, he wept at the skies and named her Icarus for all the times he'd wished he'd flown away and all the times he'd rather have been burned than to be made frozen in this lie, with a wife who was an anchor and a daughter that reminded him too much of smoke, tainted. She named their first miscarriage Jason, because 5 months into the pregnancy, he jumped off ship, aborted her vessel as if a hostage in the body she had done everything to make him feel at home in. Jason, her prenatal Argonaut, she loved him before they'd ever met. A faded ultrasound she kept above her mirror, the still reflection of all her amorphous hopes and secret offerings, her sacred dreams of woven whiffs of golden fleece for hair, which maybe would make her husband love her as he did that other woman, whose memory he poured libations to like apologies, whose curse had left her blinded to her, like Oedipus in the desert, like night to day. And yet, maybe if she could have given him their Jason with flowing seawater for tears and fire, not blood in his veins, godly. After Jason, there was Apollo, her tiny god of light. She loved him even as she found him one morning, fallen in the wide arms of one growing pool of blood on the guilty linoleum of the bathroom floor. Apollo was a hero who never saw the light of day. Destroyed once again by her too toxic uterus and her too feeble bones and those too rough hands never meant to wash the fragile feet of gods or the soft high brows of ancient kings, flawed. 7 cruel years later, he named their firstborn Icarus, and when she held it for the first time, she cried enough tears to shrink sips, cursed enough gods to bring famines, wished destruction upon the earth. For 10 years afterwards, she felt a Manos, a fury so sharp. The moment she birthed her, this daughter, this mistake, this gender-bent burden, this final curse in the guise of a blessing, a gift horse filled to the brim with disappointments, Icarus emerged from her like a wild tempest that tore through her stomach and their life, and all she could feel from the aftermath was hate. Hate for the knowledge that even as she first took flight, Icarus was born to crash. Later. Today, they name their sadness Medusa. Stare right into the eye of every morning when they wake up and see the icy truth that everything real around them has turned to stone. Their flightless marriage and weighted dreams, the papier-mâché daughter with her too fragile wings and her missing Y chromosome, reaching and falling, so close to being divine and yet just as chained as Prometheus to expectations that will devour them like vultures till they bleed themselves to redemption, tragic. If only he had gone to war for his Helen instead of remaining with her ghost. If only she had kept those tiny Apollos instead of shooting arrows to their graves. If only Icarus had known that through birth she would be spreading her wings into an open casket called life. And maybe if the sun didn't always burn so goddamn hot, if all wings were sturdier than wax, and if there were gods on Mount Olympus instead of just statues and fables, abandoned chairs and tables, empty oaths and muted legends screaming. Listen. Beneath the antiquated ruins, hear the antiquated poets, the oracles and deities clamor for remembrance, call out for their deliverance. Starved for our belief in them, the myths are filled with hunger. In sacred tombs and archaic pages, they wither towards obscurity while mankind has outgrown itself and civilization lives on to nurture the familial ties that blind and bind those who have wings and those who have sight. Ungodly children with cosmic aspiration, aiming for the skies in secret, glowing like candles lit at both ends, living to explode and dying just to burn, heroic. If only flying was as natural to those without wings and falling, just a kiss between gravity and hope. My dear Icarus, if you are reading this poem now, Know that your parents were mortals, not metaphors. They were storytellers, not prophets. For their lies, absolve them. For their truth, accept them. As for you, remember, fear is the greatest fiction of them all. So keep your head above the clouds and your wings far from the flames, but never stop flying. Thank you.